The ship landed on the royal moon of Arthelia, a place humans almost never visited. The air was bright, the sky had 2 suns, and the ground shimmered like tiny diamonds. Captain Elias Ward stepped outside, trying not to look nervous. He was the only human invited to the royal peace ceremony, and he had no idea why. Everyone said the Arthelians were beautiful, powerful, and a little dangerous. They were tall, elegant beings with silver hair, sharp eyes, and long, moving tails that reacted to their emotions. Elias had trained for war, not royal dinners. He wished someone had warned him about the tails part. 2 royal guards led him inside the palace. Gold pillars rose higher than anything he had ever seen. The walls glowed like they were alive. Everything looked expensive enough to buy 10 planets. But he knew one thing. One mistake here could start a war. As he entered the throne room, the huge golden doors opened with a loud rumble. Inside, the royal family waited. But he only saw one person first. Her. Princess Lyra of Arthelia. She sat on a massive golden throne, glowing under the red velvet curtains behind her. Her silver hair was braided, her skin pale like moonlight, and her eyes sharp, like she could see straight into a person's truth. She looked beautiful and dangerous at the same time. But Elias's eyes froze on something else. Her tail. Long, silver, and swaying slowly behind her like it had a mind of its own. Elias bowed. Princess Lyra. It is an honor. Lyra tilted her head, watching him like she was studying a strange new creature. A human, she whispered. Father was right. They are smaller. Elias almost choked. Smaller? He was 6 feet tall. Before he could reply, King Vorian entered from the side walkway. He was even larger than the guards, broad shoulders, tall as a giant, with a tail that looked strong enough to break a wall. Human, the king boomed. Welcome. Come closer. Elias stepped forward carefully. He couldn't believe how huge the throne platform was. Lyra's throne sat high, almost like a stage. Elias climbed the steps, hoping he wouldn't trip. And then it happened. Princess Lyra leaned forward, curious. Her tail lifted higher behind her. Maybe she didn't notice it, maybe she did, but the moment Elias reached the top step, her tail swung. Whack! The tail hit his chest like a steel whip. Elias flew backward, completely off his balance. He landed right into the lower throne seat beside her, the royal consort seat, his head spinning. Silence. Dead silence. The guards froze. The advisors gasped. Someone dropped a ceremonial cup. Elias sat there, stunned, not knowing if he should stand, apologize, or crawl away in shame. Lyra's eyes widened. Her tail curled in embarrassment. Her face turned pink. Elias tried to speak. Princess. I think your tail. Before he could finish, a deep laugh echoed through the room. The king. He didn't look angry. He looked delighted. Vorian clapped his giant hands together once, loud like thunder. He fits, the king declared. Every advisor looked confused. Lyra turned even redder. Elias had no idea what fits meant. The king smiled proudly. The consort seat accepted him. The throne did not reject him. He pointed dramatically. It is a sign. Elias blinked. A sign, of what? That you are matched for my daughter, the king boomed. The throne of Arthelia accepts only one who is worthy of her. Lyra's jaw dropped. Father. That was an accident. The king ignored her. Human, you have survived my daughter's first strike. That means strength. And courage. Elias wanted to sink into the floor. Sir, with respect, I didn't survive anything. I was knocked. The king laughed even louder. Exactly. And you lived. Lyra covered her face with her hands. This is embarrassing. Elias stood up quickly. Your Majesty, I assure you, I am not here to marry anyone. I'm just here to sign the peace treaty. The king's grin widened. Why not both? Both? Elias felt his stomach twist. He had come for a simple diplomatic mission. Now the king was talking about marriage? Lyra cleared her throat loudly. Father, the human is clearly confused. And my tail moved because, she hesitated. Because he startled me. You. Startled, the king teased. You could crush a soldier with one tail swing. Lyra glared at him. I didn't crush him. The king nodded. Good. Because that means you like him. Elias's brain nearly exploded. Like him? They had not even spoken for 10 seconds. 2 guards stepped closer, whispering excitedly. Even they seemed amused. Elias took a deep breath. Your Majesty, please. I came only for peaceful talks. And you shall have them, the king said. At dinner. With my daughter. Alone. Lyra's eyes widened. Alone. Father. Silence, the king said playfully, not angry at all. It is decided. Elias tried to step backward, but the king's tail blocked the stairs. He was trapped. The princess stared at him, unsure whether to apologize or blame him. The king smiled like a proud matchmaker. And one thing became clear to Elias. This mission was about to get much more complicated. Elias followed Princess Lyra through the long golden hallway, his footsteps echoing on the smooth crystal floor. He still couldn't believe what had happened. 10 minutes ago, he was simply a human captain. Now he was the guy who got knocked into a throne by a princess's tail, and the king thought it meant marriage. Lyra did not look happy. Her tail was stiff behind her, like a sword stuck in the ground. She walked fast, too fast for Elias's human legs, and he kept almost tripping as he tried to catch up. I'm sorry, he said quietly. She didn't look at him. For what? For falling into the throne. And for your father thinking I fit. Lyra groaned softly. My father sees signs in everything. If a leaf falls, he thinks it means destiny. If I sneeze, he thinks I've chosen a suitor. Elias didn't know if that was a joke, but she didn't smile. They reached a door that shimmered with blue energy. 2 guards pulled it open, and warm light spilled out. Inside was a private dining room, small compared to the throne room, but still larger than any human house dining area. The walls glowed with soft colors, and a floating chandelier lit the table. The table was set for 2. Elias swallowed. This looks romantic. Lyra shot him a sharp look. It's not. He raised both hands. I didn't say it was. I said it looks like it. She sat down on the left side and motioned for him to sit across from her. Elias did so, hoping he wouldn't accidentally upset her again. One wrong move could start a royal disaster. Alien servants brought dishes, floating plates of shimmering fruits, glowing noodles, and something that looked like blue smoke but smelled delicious. Elias tried to act calm, but Lyra kept staring at him. Sometimes at his eyes, sometimes at his hands, sometimes at his neck, like she was imagining how weak humans were. He cleared his throat. Do I have something on my face? No, she said softly. I'm simply observing. Observing me? Yes. I have never met a human. Elias nodded. That made sense. Humans and Arthelians had only recently stopped being enemies. Lyra leaned back slightly. Tell me something, Captain. Why are humans so fragile? Elias blinked. Fragile? You bruise easily. You break easily. You cannot lift half of what an Arthelian child can lift. She pointed her tail at him. Yet you survived my strike. Elias nodded slowly. Honestly? I think I survived because I bounced. I didn't do anything special. Lyra's lips twitched, almost a smile. So humans rely on luck. Sometimes, he admitted. But sometimes our survival is not luck. It's stubbornness. She tilted her head. Stubbornness? Yes. Humans keep going even when we're outmatched, outnumbered, or outclassed. Lyra thought about that. For the first time, she didn't look annoyed. I see, she said. Persistence as strength. Elias nodded. A moment passed. The tension softened, just a little. But then, crack. A loud sound hit the window behind Lyra. Elias jumped in his chair. Lyra didn't move. Her eyes narrowed. Ignore it. My father probably ordered fireworks. Fireworks? Elias asked. Yes. He celebrates everything. What's he celebrating now? That he thinks we are destined partners. Elias groaned into his hands. He really wants that, doesn't he? Lyra sighed. He believes the throne chose you. He believes my tail striking you means fate. Does your tail usually do that? Elias asked carefully. Lyra went quiet. Her eyes shifted away. Only when I am startled, she said finally. Or, flustered. Elias felt his heart drop into his stomach. Flustered? Did I fluster you? No, she said quickly. Too quickly. Your human face is simply unexpected. He blinked. My face startled you? Yes. I have never seen a face like yours. It is very human. That's not very descriptive. I'm not used to describing things that look soft. Soft? Elias repeated. You think I look soft? Yes. Her cheeks warmed slightly. You look like you should be protected. Elias stared at her. Protected? From her people's point of view, maybe that made sense. They were tall, strong, durable, and he was just a human soldier with normal bones and normal muscles. Do you find that insulting? Lyra asked, her tail slowly curling around her chair. No, Elias said honestly. It's fair. Hours seemed to pass in seconds as they talked. Lyra relaxed more. Her tail lowered. Her eyes softened. She even laughed once, just once, but it sounded like glass bells. But then, the door exploded open. King Vorian stormed inside, tail swaying like a banner. Excellent. You are talking. Lyra groaned. Father. The king grinned at Elias. Tell me, human. Do you like my daughter? Elias nearly choked on his drink. Lyra's tail snapped upright. Father. Elias coughed, trying not to die in front of royalty. She is, strong. And intelligent. And very, very, direct. Vorian laughed. Good. That means you like her. Lyra covered her face with both hands. Can this night end? But the king wasn't done. He turned to Elias, his voice suddenly serious. Human. There is a reason I brought you here. A reason the throne did not reject you. A reason my daughter's tail chose you. Elias froze. Lyra froze. The king looked between them. You were chosen, he said. Because danger is coming. And only together, can you survive it. Elias felt a chill run down his spine. Danger? Chosen? Survive? Lyra whispered, Father, what danger? The king's smile faded. The room fell silent after the king's words. Elias felt his heartbeat slow, then speed up again. He had heard rumors, whispers of something that destroyed whole colonies, but nothing confirmed. Humans had never seen the creature, only wreckage. Lyra stood up, her tail rising slowly in alarm. "Father, you never said the enemy survived." King Vorian folded his hands behind his back. He didn't look like a ruler now. He looked like a soldier remembering an old wound. "We thought it died with the moon," the king said quietly. "But 3 nights ago, we received a signal. A warning. From one of our scouting ships." "What kind of warning?" Elias asked. The king turned his sharp golden eyes toward him. "Only 2 words." He paused. Lyra whispered, "What words?" The king spoke slowly, almost painfully, "It wakes." Elias felt cold. "The enemy that destroyed our last moon, has returned." Lyra's tail tightened around her waist like it wanted to shield her. "No," she said. "It cannot be alive. It cannot." King Vorian nodded grimly. "But it is." Elias leaned forward. "What exactly is it?" The king looked at him, studying his reaction before answering. "A void serpent." Elias had heard that name once in a military briefing. A creature so big it could eat ships. A creature older than any known species. Not technology. Not intelligence. A force of nature. He swallowed. "Those things are real?" The king nodded. "Real. And unstoppable." Lyra took a deep breath, regaining her usual strength. "Why now? Why return after so long?" "Because," the king said, "something has changed." Elias frowned. "Changed how?" Vorian's voice grew low. "It no longer hunts only worlds. Now it hunts energy. Living energy. And the strongest source it sensed came from Arthelia." Lyra's eyes widened. "You mean?" "Yes," the king said. "You. Your power. Your bloodline. Your throne." Elias sat back, stunned. Lyra wasn't just royalty. She was power. Actual energy the creature could detect. The king continued, "The void serpent is drawn to royal life essence. And Lyra carries the strongest essence in 1,000 years." Lyra clenched her fists. "So it wants me alive." "It wants you consumed," the king corrected. Elias felt the room shift, like gravity suddenly grew heavier. "But what does this have to do with me?" Elias asked. "I'm human. I have no royal energy. I'm not even strong." The king stepped forward and pointed at Elias's chest, right over his heart. "Because," he said, "you survived something no outsider ever has." Elias frowned. "Lyra's tail knocking me?" "Not the tail," the king said. "The throne." Lyra blinked. "Father, that is just a chair." "No," Vorian said. "It is ancient. Older than our empire. It accepts only those who can bond with our energy. All others feel pain. Or collapse." Elias remembered landing on it, hard. But he felt no pain. Just embarrassment. "Human," the king said, "you were accepted. The throne chose you as compatible with our bloodline. That has never happened in history." Lyra whispered, almost to herself, "A human bonded to Aurelian energy. That should be impossible." Elias threw his hands up. "Okay, so the throne didn't kill me. Great. But how does that help against a giant world-eating serpent?" Lyra's eyes locked onto his. "Because if you bonded with Aurelian energy, even for a moment, the creature might not sense you the way it senses us." The king nodded. "That gives you one thing we do not have." "What?" Elias asked. "Stealth," Lyra said softly. "You can get close to the creature. Close enough to see it. To study it. To learn how to stop it." Elias let out a shaky laugh. Let me get this straight. You want me, a human, to go near something that can swallow ships like candy? Yes, Lyra said. No hesitation at all, he asked. None, she replied. Elias stared at the table. He had faced enemies. He had fought battles. But nothing like this. Lyra softened her voice. Captain. I know this is frightening. But we are out of options. The king stepped closer. You are not chosen because you are the strongest, he said. You are chosen because you are the only one the creature will not sense. Elias swallowed hard. And if I refuse? Vorian's face darkened, but not in anger. In sorrow. Then, he said quietly, my daughter dies. My people die. And eventually, your people will be next. Silence fell again. Elias looked at Lyra. For the first time, she did not look royal or intimidating. She looked human. Worried. Vulnerable, her tail moved slowly behind her, not in anger, not in pride, but like it was trying to comfort her. Captain, she said. If you help us, I will protect you. I give you the word of my bloodline. Elias breathed out slowly. He never asked for this. Never wanted this. But could he really sit back and let billions die? Finally, he nodded once. All right, he said. I'll help. Lyra's eyes widened with relief. The king placed a massive hand on Elias's shoulder. Good. Because the creature will reach our stars in less than 6 days. Elias's eyes widened. 6 days. Yes, the king said. And you two must leave tonight. Elias stared at Lyra. Lyra stared back. No turning back now. Night fell fast on Arthelia, faster than Elias expected. On human worlds, night arrived slowly, like the sky was thinking about it. But here, darkness dropped like a curtain, sharp and sudden. The twin suns vanished behind the horizon, and the silver moons rose in their place, glowing softly over the crystal palace. Elias stood on the balcony outside the travel hangar, staring at the ship they would take. It was sleek and curved, almost like a living creature, with glowing blue lines pulsing along the hull. It looked fast. Too fast. Lyra approached silently. Her footsteps made no sound, but her tail swayed behind her, glowing faintly under the moonlight. Elias could tell she was nervous, even though her face remained calm. Are you ready? She asked. No, Elias answered honestly. But I'm here. Lyra nodded once. That is enough. The king joined them, wearing heavy royal armor, his presence filling the balcony. He looked less like a ruler now and more like a father sending his child into danger. The void serpent is moving faster than expected, he said. Our scouts believe it will enter the outer rings by dawn. Elias blinked. Dawn. You said 6 days. The king exhaled slowly. I hoped we had 6 days. We have 1. Lyra's tail froze mid-air. Father, that soon. Then why send us at all? Because, the king said, we cannot flee. And we cannot hide. But perhaps, you two can discover what we cannot. Elias stepped forward. What do you need us to find? A weakness, the king said. Anything. A pattern. A secret. A point we can strike. Lyra crossed her arms. Father, this creature has no weaknesses. It survived starfire. And yet, the king said, something stopped at once. Lyra hesitated. Elias raised an eyebrow. Something. The king nodded slowly. Yes. Long ago. Before recorded history. The creature vanished for thousands of cycles. Something forced it to sleep. Elias felt a chill. Something put it to sleep, and we don't know what. No, the king replied. But maybe you can find out. Elias swallowed. By getting close. Closer than any of us can, Lyra added softly. The king placed a heavy hand on his daughter's shoulder. Lyra, protect him. She nodded. Always. Then the king turned to Elias. And you, human, do not let fear control you. Elias tried to smile. If fear controlled me, I'd still be in bed. The king laughed once, a deep rumbling sound. Good. Humor is a shield too. They boarded the ship. Inside, the cabin glowed with soft gold light. The controls were round stones that moved with touch, like liquid metal. Lyra sat in the pilot's seat, her tail curled around the base for balance. Elias sat beside her, strapping himself in. Lyra tapped a glowing panel, and the ship hummed awake. Hold tight, she said. Aurelian ships do not glide, they leap. Leap? Elias repeated. Too late. The ship shot upward like an arrow. Elias slammed back into his seat. The palace shrank below them. The sky flashed silver. And then, stars exploded into view. Not slowly, like human ships. Instantly. Like they had ripped straight out of one dimension and into another, Elias gasped for air. Okay, that's new. Lyra glanced at him. Humans prefer slow travel. Humans prefer survival. Lyra cracked a tiny smile. You will adjust. The stars streaked around them as the ship jumped between folds of space. It didn't feel like speed. It felt like teleportation again and again. After several jumps, Lyra's smile faded. She touched a panel. A hologram appeared, an enormous dark shape moving slowly across a star field. It looked like a shadow with glowing veins, long and winding like a dragon made of night. Elias felt his mouth go dry. That's it? Yes, Lyra whispered. The Void Serpent. It was bigger than he imagined. Longer than cities. Its mouth glowed with white fire. Its scales looked like drifting pieces of void. And inside those glowing veins, something pulsed. Slowly. Like a heartbeat. Elias leaned closer. Is that energy? Lyra nodded. It feeds on life. Worlds. Suns. Everything. He stared at the creature. How do we get close without it noticing you? Lyra touched another panel. The ship dimmed, then shifted color until it matched the stars around them. Stealth mode, she said. But it will only hide the ship. Not me. Elias understood. So I go alone. Lyra froze. No. Lyra. No, she repeated, her voice sharp. You cannot go alone. You do not know our technology. You do not know the creature's signals. You will die. Elias sighed. If you go with me, it will sense you. Lyra lowered her head, whispering, I know. Outside, the creature drifted across space, slow and unstoppable. It was beautiful and horrifying at the same time. Lyra's tail curled around her leg. Her voice weakened. If it senses me, it will come. And I cannot outrun it. So what do we do? Elias asked softly. Lyra looked at him, really looked at him. Not like a weak human. Not like a stranger. But like someone she needed. Someone she trusted. Her voice shook. We find a way to mask my energy. Or I stay in the ship, and you go alone. But I do not like that choice. Elias gently touched her arm. Lyra. I won't let you die. Or your people. Her eyes softened. And I will not lose you either. Elias blinked. Lose me? Since when do you? Beep. 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 An alarm cut him off. Lyra's eyes widened. It sensed something, she whispered. Something changed. Elias stared at her. What changed? Lyra's tail snapped upright. Her voice trembled. It sensed me. The ancient manor groaned as if waking from a century-old sleep. Aidan stepped inside the forgotten hall, a chamber no outsider had seen since the fall of the first nobles. The air was colder here, too cold to be natural, and every breath left a trail of fog behind him. He wasn't alone. At the far end of the hall, an old stone altar sat beneath a cracked stained-glass window. Moonlight passed through the broken colors, painting the floor in distorted shapes, almost like symbols. As Aidan moved closer, the shapes shifted under his feet, forming patterns that responded to his presence. Behind the altar stood Lady Seraphine, but she wasn't in her human guise. Her shadows stretched unnaturally long, twisting like dark flames. Her voice echoed in a layered whisper, ancient and commanding. Aidan, you carry the mark of our lost bloodline. And tonight, the house remembers you. His heart pounded. He hadn't told her about the mark, so how did she know? Before he could speak, the walls themselves awakened. Carvings lit up, runes pulsing like beating hearts. The forgotten hall locked itself, sealing them inside. He felt it instantly, the manor chose him. Seraphine lifted her hand, revealing a black dagger with a silver edge. Every noble must bind themselves, she said. Your ancestors made an oath of blood. Break it, and the manor will devour you. Aidan stepped back, but his own shadow betrayed him, pulling him forward as if obeying her command. Pain bit his palm as the dagger cut him. A drop of his blood hit the altar. The entire hall trembled. Something massive shifted beneath the floor. Something old. Something awake. The runes around them brightened to blinding white, and Aidan's mind filled with images, his ancestors fleeing a burning city, the first nobles battling a monstrous, unseen enemy, and a prophecy that ended with him standing alone against the darkness. When the vision faded, Seraphine's voice softened. You are not here by accident, Aidan. You were chosen long before your birth. And now, the enemy who destroyed your bloodline is returning. A chill crawled up his neck. Because he could hear it too. A low growl from the shadows behind them. Not human. Not noble. Something older than both. And it was already inside the manor. Aidan froze as the growl echoed through the manor's hollow corridors. The walls around him, already alive with ancient runes, now vibrated with a slow, deliberate, heartbeat. Seraphine stepped in front of him, her eyes glowing like twin lanterns in the dark. Stay close, she whispered. But even her voice trembled. The torches along the walls extinguished one by one, as if something invisible walked past them. A cold wind swept through the forgotten hall, carrying with it a smell Aidan couldn't forget, iron, ash, and something rotten. Something hungry. The floorboards bent under unseen weight. Not footsteps, but crawling. Fast. Predatory. Aidan's own shadow twitched behind him, as if trying to warn him. The manor's magic reacted to the intruder, and the runes dimmed, not from weakness, from fear. Seraphine lowered herself, shadow tendrils flaring like blades. It shouldn't be here, she whispered. This creature belongs to the outer realm. The same one that destroyed your ancestors. Aidan swallowed hard. Why is it after me? Seraphine glanced at his marked palm, the blood that now tied him to the ancient oath, because you are the last noble who can seal it away. The creature's silhouette flashed, a sudden blur in the darkness, claws scraping stone. Aidan saw only a malformed shape with too many joints, too many eyes, and a crawling rhythm that didn't belong in this world. With a screech that split the hall, it lunged. Seraphine struck first. Shadows erupted from her body, weaving into dark spears that hurled forward. They pierced the creature, but instead of dying, it absorbed them, growing larger, stronger. Aidan stepped back, terrified. It feeds on shadow magic, Seraphine hissed. It came for me first. But now it wants your bloodline. The creature slammed into a pillar, cracking it in half. Debris rained down. Aiden dove aside, barely dodging a piece of stone the size of a coffin. When he looked up, the creature was staring directly at him. Every one of its many eyes focused on Aiden. Seraphine shouted his name, but the creature reached him first, its claw stretching through the air, inches from Aiden's throat. The manor reacted violently. The runes blazed. The air exploded. Aiden was thrown backward as beams of ancient light erupted from the floor, cutting the creature off from him. The beast screeched, blinded and enraged. Seraphine grabbed Aiden's arm. Listen to me, this creature wasn't sent to kill you. It was sent to test you. Aiden's pulse hammered in his ears. Test me, for what? Seraphine's expression darkened. For the throne your ancestors abandoned, and the war they tried to hide. In the distance, the creature's growls deepened, gathering strength for a second attack. And this time, the manor's protection wouldn't be enough. The hall shook as the creature roared again, louder than before. Dust rained from the ceiling, and deep cracks spread along the old stone pillars like spiderwebs breaking apart. Aiden felt the heat and tremor of the monster's power, and for a moment, he thought the entire manor would collapse on them. Seraphine pulled him back, her tail curling protectively around his waist. We won't survive a second attack, she whispered, eyes glowing with fear she tried to hide. You must open the throne room. Only it can stop the creature. Aiden stared at the sealed door at the other end of the hall. It shimmered with ancient symbols, symbols that had followed him since childhood, symbols he once believed were just nightmares. Now he knew they were real. Me. Open it. How? He said, breath shaking. Seraphine pointed at his marked palm. You're the final bloodline. The throne listens only to you. Aiden had no choice. Either he trusted the destiny he never wanted, or the creature would destroy them both. He stepped toward the throne room door. The runes on his hand lit up, brighter with every step. His heartbeat matched the ancient pulse traveling through the floor, as if the manor itself recognized him. Behind him, the creature slammed its claws into the ground and launched forward. Seraphine threw herself in front of it, her shadow tendrils forming a shield. The impact sent her skidding across the stone floor. She hit the wall with a hard crack and fell to her knees, gasping. Go, Aiden, she shouted. Aiden touched the glowing door. The entire mansion trembled. The ancient symbols rotated, unlocking themselves. The door slid open, revealing a chamber bathed in white gold light. In the center stood the throne, massive, dark stone carved with swirling runes, and wrapped around it was something unexpected. A tail. A massive, coiled, living tail made of pure energy. It lifted slightly as Aiden entered, as if sensing him. The creature burst through the cracked pillars behind him, eyes blazing. Seraphine tried to stand but fell again, exhausted and bleeding shadows that evaporated into the air. Aiden turned to her. Just hold on. I'll end this. He stepped toward the throne. Immediately, the chamber roared to life. The tail uncoiled and swept around Aiden, lifting him gently off the ground. The throne's energy crawled up his spine, warm, ancient, familiar. It didn't feel like power. It felt like acceptance. Aiden gasped as memories, not his own, flashed through his mind. Wars fought by his ancestors. Worlds saved and worlds destroyed. Pacts made with beings like Seraphine's family. And a promise, the promise of a protector. When the visions ended, the throne pulsed once, like a heartbeat shared with him. Outside, the creature charged, breaking through the last barrier. It lunged straight at Aiden. The throne reacted before he could. A wave of pure force exploded outward, slamming into the creature so hard it flipped backward and hit the ground with a thunderous crash. Its limbs twisted unnaturally, but it still rose, screeching with fury. Aiden felt something move behind him. The throne's tail, enormous, blazing with energy, whipped forward. It struck the creature with such power that the impact shook the entire room. The beast smashed into the far wall, leaving a crater. Aiden stared in shock. He didn't command the throne. The throne was protecting him. The creature tried to stand again, but the throne's tail wrapped around it like a giant serpent, squeezing until its bones cracked like dry branches. Light burst from its body, and then it simply vanished. Silence. The chamber dimmed. Aiden lowered himself from the throne, legs shaking, breath trembling. He looked at Seraphine, who was staring at him with wide, shining eyes filled with awe, fear, and something deeper. You awakened the noble throne," she whispered. Aiden walked to her and helped her stand. "I didn't do anything. It chose me." Seraphine's tail flicked nervously, brushing his ankle. "That's why my father said, he fits." He wasn't talking about manners or strength. He meant the throne would accept you, and accept us working together. Aiden blinked. Us? Seraphine looked away, cheeks slightly glowing. "My father wanted an alliance. A bond between your bloodline and mine. A partnership to protect the realms." Aiden gave a soft laugh. "You could have just told me." She smiled, shy but fierce. "I didn't expect the throne to like you that much." Aiden looked back at the trembling ruins of the hall. "So, what now?" Seraphine stepped close, her shadow-like aura softening around him. "Now," she said, "you take your place as the last noble, and I stand beside you." The creature was only the beginning. The real war is coming. Aiden stared at the glowing throne and felt its heartbeat match his. He nodded. "Then let's face it together." Seraphine's tail curled around him once more, gently this time, and she smiled. "You fit," she said softly. "And I'm glad you do."